All right, so with me today I've got Gary Daly, Ed London of China Crisis. Thanks ever so much, guys, for agreeing to do this interview for us.
Right.
We're so happy and grateful that you're going to join us in the Dover Music Festival. I've got the T-shirt. If you're making T-shirts, by the way, lads, can you go for the triple XL? Because this is XSL, it's a little tight. Getting a bit wide in the old age. So what we really want to talk about, we've got a lot of young bands who are coming into the festival. And I think, having spoken to people like yourselves, what they'd really like to know is how you got your start, how it all happened for you, really, because you're one of the biggest bands of the 80s. You've managed to be in the business now for 30 odd years. It'd be really interesting to find out, what your experiences were in the early days.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we met at school. We went to the same school together, and we had a shared passion, for music. But what it was is, and at that time, you've got to remember, there was a lot of independent labels. It wasn't like, it was just after the punk thing, so everyone, there was Rough Trades and all small little labels kind of set up. And in the town where we lived, it had a recording studio with a label based in the studio. And we went in, we did our first demos, and part of that was a song called African and White. And people at the studio on the label, it was called Inevitable, the label, and they had like Dead or Alive and War Heat and them kind of bands. And they released the first single. Now, the first single just went ballistic. It took off. BBC Radio started playing it. Peter Powell, John Peel, all the DJs at the time. So quite quickly, Virgin Records come in, and when Virgin came in, we signed to them and we spent many years with them, recording the bulk of our work with them.
So it was really down to your own efforts and getting noticed by them after you'd really had a bit of success, yeah?
Yeah, we never expected the success that African and White brought. We didn't think it was going to be as huge as what it was, but that was the power of radio. Radio is a very powerful tool, and if they start playing with you, it's great. It does your career.
There's a lovely bit of footage actually online with Sylvian from Japan and Robert Palmer, on Round Table, which they used to do on Radio 1, of all the new releases, and African and White was on that. And Robert Palmer was, it's a bit derogatory, it's a bit sort of talking heads kind of, and Dave Sylvian was sticking up for us and was all very, I think it's kind of original really, it's the real deal and stuff. So it is a lot of luck really, it is how people take to you and momentum and stuff like that.
Yeah,
really, all the Radio 1 DJs like Janice Long and Peter Powell and these people, they really sort of championed us really, unexpected.
There was a lot of competition about back then though, wasn't there? You had OMD and Echo and the Bunnymen and all those bands coming out of your area, I suppose. So Liverpool was pretty much a hotbed then. Yeah,
but we were like a lot of young fellas and girls at the time. Everybody was in a band when we left school, and we only noticed that we were still in a band and being successful when our friends started getting proper jobs and going for careers. That we suddenly realised, it doesn't happen for everybody really. It is a bit of luck, and it is a bit you have got to work hard, but there's an element of luck, isn't there?
I think there's an element of luck, like getting found at the beginning, but the hard maintaining that, is like is producer. I mean, you've got to realise, like, we did like 5 albums with Virgin, and there was basically hits off every album. The first album, third album, fourth album. To maintain that all the time, that's the real hard work. Where it,
Well, I was going to say, one of the things about your band in particular, I think it's really noticeable, is the longevity of the music. It's not really in a place and a time. I think it really does last. I think that's one of the reasons you guys are still going. I mean, is that, in your craft, were you deliberately going for a sort of, this is going to last sound, or are you just bubbling up with all the energy and doing what you do and that just happens? Or is it work?
I think it just kind of happens. I mean, don't get us wrong, the song is the most important thing, and the song is king, so whatever the song needs, whatever instrumentation we kind of get. We've never been like, with a rock band we only do that, or with a synth band we only do that. we embrace it all. We love synths, we love drum machines, we love rail drums, we love whatever the song needs, I think.
Yeah.
So kind of instead of being trapped in like a little fashion pocket, whether you're a synth band or whatever, I think we're more, the song will dictate whatever instrumentation it needs. If it needs vibes, if it needs strings, if it needs horns, then we'll do it. But we're not just a synth band or a guitar band or.
So I take it from that you must have fairly eclectic influences, because you do use quite a few instruments in your music, don't you? So what are your major influences? What drove you to want to make this noise?
It's so broad, isn't it?
Yeah, gosh.
It's so broad. Everything from Eno to Bowie to Steely Dan to the Talking Heads. That's just be eclectic.
A big Steely Dan fan. You had Walter Becker produce some of your albums, didn't you?
Polish guy.
Yeah.
But so it's really broad. It's like basically we like anything that's good.
Yeah. I suppose that's true of all of us, isn't it? Whatever resonates. So what you're recording your new album now? What's your new album called?
Autumn in the Neighbourhood.
Autumn in the Neighbourhood. And when can we expect that to be released?
Well, in a few weeks, actually.
Yeah.
But actually, it's our first in 20 years, and it's for the Pledge site, which is an online thing which fans basically pledge to help towards the cost of making the record. So they make it possible. This was just something we found out last year because we've never really stopped playing. We've always played at some point or other the last 20 years. So when we found out about this site and the fans being able to be part of it, we thought it was quite a nice introduction for a band of our, standing really. Control of it, to be in control of the budget, to be in control of everything. And we sort of feel like we've understood the business enough to understand that, well, basically, we know how to make a record. So it's a good starting point for us. Although we do fully expect to sort of license it once we have completed it and completed our commitments to Pledge. But most probably will get it manufactured and distributed by a company. Well, yeah, for sure, really, because we want it to be in shops and on radio and all that kind of thing, really.
I mean, I was looking at pledgemusic.com. That's a really interesting vehicle, and I noticed you guys have had a good subscription on that as well.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what else I really like. It's those mementos, the things you can get that's sort of additional to the music that bring you a little closer to the bands that you like, like the guitars and the T-shirts and the artwork. I thought that was a really smart move.
It is. It's a very successful company. I think they've just seen that gap in the market. I mean, the guy who actually set it up, funny enough, he worked for a major company for about 25 years, and he realised that the major companies started kind of forgetting all the older bands and just signing the new kids and the new bands, and he just thought to himself, there's still a big market out there for all these groups. So basically we'll set up a company, Pledge, and their fans can help get the albums made, get the artwork, get all. It was a good idea, really good idea.
Well, we're going to stick a link on that on the Music Festival website for you, because I thought some of the mementos that you guys were offering was really interesting to the fans. Things like signed guitars and the little bits of art and the stuff you were doing for the CD inserts. I thought that was a really clever way of bringing fans closer to the music,
I really like the idea. I like the bespoke, individual sleeves
for
people. I think that's a great idea. So, the person has the one copy with the one artwork made for them.
It's really interesting. It really is. So I think that comes, I suppose, because you've been in the game so long, you must have seen the industry change incredibly in those 35 years. I'm a bit of a fan of good music, so I'm not going to say it's changed for the better. There's an awful lot of what I would call manufactured stuff going on in the market. I mean, who do you rate today? Who do you think is really good today? Who do you listen to?
I like kinds of newer acts, and a lot of them are like, students from the Liverpool Institute and that area. I like the new Dan Kroll stuff. He's doing quite interesting stuff. I do like the London Grammar thing as well. I think that's an album, but it sounds a little bit like 70s Judy Zook to me. But it's just like a modern version of, 70s music, and I kind of like that because it has a real, time about it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do like London Grammar myself, and I agree with you. We're starting to go round the circle again, I think, a little bit, as we always do. You know, our synth is going to come back big time, I think, very, very soon. So we've got a single as well from the album. I understand we've got Everyone You Know. I think have you released that single, or is that just for download on the website?
Yeah, that was a free download for people who signed up, you know, towards the pledge campaign. So they just got that as sort of a taster, really.
It's a taster.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's a nice one because it doesn't really inform people too much, really. It's a nice poppy song, but it's not necessarily the complete flavour of the album, is it? Really?
Yeah, it's a weird one, you know. I wouldn't say it's the killer track, you know.
It was one we were happy to give away.
Right. All right, well, look, guys, listen, thanks ever so much for meeting with me today. I know the people in Dover are going to be very pleased you've done this. I think it's great that you've done us the honour of coming down to sunny Dover.
Yeah, look forward to it. It's going to be great fun.
And we put you in a posh hotel, lads, on the seafront.
And of course, Colin will be playing with us, and he hasn't played with us for ages, so he's getting up on stage and playing, and that'll be great.
It's our adopted son, right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I need to tell you guys that you know, Colin has been very, very generous with his music in Dover. He's really helped a lot of youngsters down here, and it's been great to have him down in Dover. He's done really well for us, and the music scene has really grown, I think, as a result of a lot of his efforts. And he's not bad, is he? He's not bad, Arkle.
No, he's kind of he come out of it okay. Okay. Well, actually, he's still in it.
Yeah.
And I don't suppose you're in the mood to dish a little bit of dirt for his friends and his new family down here at all?
Right,
No.
right now. This point.
Well, I'll tell you what, look, as a reward, I'm going to put a massive bottle of Lambrini in your hotel room just to sort of celebrate you coming to Dover.
What our favourite Lambrini?
It is. Romantic.
Look, I look forward to seeing you guys. I hope I can have a beer with you when you come down. Thanks ever so much for today. I wish you every success with the new album. I'll certainly be buying it. I'm a big fan. I bought Christian. That was one of the first records I bought. So good luck to you, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.